Hey guys, it's Lindsay with When Nerds Attack with our last episode of Dreadfully Yours for Season 3 of Penny Dreadful. I'm going to be covering Perpetual Night and Blessed Dark. Things are going to be different than the last reviews I've done, as things have, if you guys haven't heard, John Logan confirmed, and Showtime confirmed as well, this was the series finale. It was not the season finale. So the show is over. And I, for one, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm really annoyed, and I'm really disappointed with the show. And I think this video is more going to be me doing more of a post-mortem of these two episodes and of this season as a whole, and kind of its what it does to Penny Dreadful in general, than kind of just doing blow by blow and doing influences like I had been doing, because there is not a lot to talk about influence-wise. There is some stuff Renfield-wise that comes from the books, but other than that, there's not as much to talk about that I can talk about regarding book influences, and like I have been doing otherwise. If you guys are interested in me reviewing the other seasons, though, please let me know. I feel burned by this show quite a bit. It actually upset me, and it took me a while to decide that I was going to do the reviews still. But if you guys wanted me to go back and review Seasons 1 and Season 2, I think I would be game for that. And I think it would remind me how much I loved the show to begin with. I still think Season 1 and Season 2 are some of the best television that have been produced in the past 5 years. And I am going to miss this show despite a disappointing Season 3. Before I get into this, I want to talk a little bit about my theories of what happened. Now, John Logan has come out and said that he always intended for it to be a three-season show, a three-season arc. I tend not to believe him. There was an interview that he did last year that he said that he hadn't written Season 3. That he had an idea, he basically had it all plotted out, but he basically felt that Season 4 was up in the air. He had basically had balls in the air for it, and that the ending for the show was not written. So he could have been lying about that, or he really intended for the show to go on at least 5 seasons, and I tend to believe him on that, as opposed to the show actually meaning to be 3 seasons. More likely than not, Showtime axed the show halfway through this season, and he had to scramble and finish it very quickly. That would explain a lot of what happened in this season, and why things seemed so rushed towards the end, and why we got the ending that we did. Because the last 2 episodes, this Perpetual Night and Blessed Dark, don't coincide very well with the rest of the show. There's a tonal shift and some tonal issues that really don't match with the rest of the show, and that we've had for Season 1 and Season 2. And I know that some people have been trying to justify it and feel like, yeah, well, this show was always going to be a tragedy, blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't think that, and I don't agree. And everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but I feel like this show has always had a bittersweet tone, but not necessarily a tragic tone. And in this ending, the bad guys win. You're fooling yourself if you think that the bad guys didn't win. Vanessa may be dead, but Amunet has always reincarnated. Amunet will reincarnate. Like, she's not dead, guys. She's not. And they talked about reincarnation towards the end with Sir Malcolm. Amunet's not dead. She's not dead, guys. So she will reincarnate at a later date. Like, they never solved the Amunet problem. They never solved how to stop Amunet. So she will reincarnate, because they never figured out how to stop her. They never figured out how to stop and quell Amunet within Vanessa. So we've got that issue. Then Dracula just got away. So Dracula's still going to be preying on people left and right. So he's going to find a way and just bide his time until Amunet comes back in future decades, centuries, or whatever. So it's only a matter of time before this cycle perpetuates itself. So it's not... The bad guys won. The bad guys won, basically. John Clare is the most miserable, sad sack, pathetic thing that I've ever seen. Another thing that should be pointed out is that there is an interview with the actor who plays Jekyll / Hyde, and he had talked about putting on the makeup of Hyde, of turning into the monster or whatever. So maybe he was lying about that too, but we never saw it, so all we got is I'm Lord Hyde now. Well, like, I don't think that that's what John Logan meant. He's Jekyll Hyde. Like, I really, really doubt that that's what was going on with the storyline. I have a feeling that he had to abandon it, and he had to toss it aside because the show got canceled halfway through. I have a feeling that's what happened with Katarina as well. They introduced her really, really late on. I have a feeling that they brought her on because Sir Lyle, the actor who played Sir Lyle, had a lot of commitments. So they brought her on to help be a historical guide for Vanessa. And she reminds me a lot of the characters from Underworld. And she got brought on late and then is never explained. They barely explained Ethan's werewolf stuff. Like, a lot of that is done really, really quick with exposition. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is rushed through. And it is either really, really poor writing on John's part, and if he always meant it to be this way, he's a poor writer. And he's not a poor writer. He has never been a poor writer. So the only logical conclusion that I can come to is that he was told halfway through the season, you're canceled. Figure it out. And this is what he had to come up with. And he didn't have much option. And he came up with this dribble. And that's what I consider it to be, a dribble. I'm sorry, I have some really, really strong feelings about it. I know other people don't. I may have different feelings about it in time, but it's too close to the end of the show. And I'm just really unhappy about it. There's some real problems with the plotline, plot holes that usually aren't there. Characterization issues that people don't act correctly. It just was a real struggle for me. So, one of the plot holes, for example, is that, we're told after Ethan and Sir Malcolm and all of them get off the ship that it's basically been a week since Vanessa fell to darkness, and that 7,000 people have died and all of this stuff, and we have this discussion, but then we cut to Lily and Victor and Dorian and Jeckle, and they're still talking to her, and Dorian's still wearing the same clothes. So did time just not pass for them? Apparently not, because it's the same time for them, or they've been talking to her for a whole week, and they just have never left Bedlam, and they have no idea what's going on, and all the prostitutes have been having a party for a whole week. I mean, basically, that's what we're supposed to assume. They've been having a party for a whole week, or time just basically stopped for that entire plotline. Also, apparently, or those plotlines are not moving in the same timeline, which is not something that usually happens on this show, but we're not told that. Like, it seems to be taking place in the same time, so it's a plot hole. It's very frustrating. It doesn't make sense. I will say that there is some very good acting in certain parts of this. John Clare, the actor who plays John Clare, again, does an amazing, phenomenal job. He is a shining beacon in this episode. It is heartbreaking him watching him deal with his son's death, watching his wife tell him basically, you can't come home unless you bring our son back to life, and obviously he's not going to do that because he knows what that entails. So he basically has lost all his family again. And also seeing him at Vanessa's grave, him knowing that he's lost everyone he loved because Vanessa was his only friend, is just the saddest thing. He'll probably be okay, but it destroyed me. And it was the only thing that I think felt true to the show. He probably was never going to be happy, but it was very, very sad and tragic. Dorian, of course, kills Justine. Okay, like, whatever. That plotline went nowhere. Dorian's plotline went nowhere this season. He basically was useless. So basically, because of what happened this season, I thought Dorian was finally going to come into his own this season. But for all intents and purposes, Dorian had really served no purpose this entire show. He served to be kind of pretty. That's it. That's it. They could have done something with him this season, but he really served to just be a secondary character who was pretty and once brought out Amunet within Vanessa. And not every secondary character has to do something, but we wasted a lot of time on him, and it was very, very frustrating because I kept wanting I thought his storyline was going somewhere, and it just stalled. We saw his portrait once and only once, and never went anywhere with it again. We kept getting little tidbits about his story, and it never went anywhere. But now, gone. Nowhere. Again, another sign to me that this show got canceled, not that it had a 3-year plan, and the 3-year plan was fulfilled to its extent. That's another sign that it didn't go there. Also, Reeve Carney, the guy who plays him, also implied that it didn't go everywhere that he wanted to, because he said that he wished that he could have spent more time in his shoes, but that's not how it worked out. That's not the sign of someone who knew that he had a 3-year plan. That's not what someone says when they knew that they had 3 years. It's just not. It's just not. So, Dorian, whatever. He also somehow found some movers in a plague to move the table out of the room, but left the dead body there. Okay. Sure. Whatever. Minor quibble, but figured it out. Ethan goes to find Victor, ends up finding the vampire kid instead. They ended up having, they had a vampire fight in the mansion, found a dead wolf. All this stuff that's happening, but whatever. I mean, I hate to, really gloss over it, but a lot of it was just spinning in circles and not really going anywhere. Dr. Seward was amazing. Again, Renfeld's actor was proved to be just a shining example of awesomeness on this show. Basically, anybody involved in the Dracula storyline that came from Dracula's book, I thought was amazing, and did a really, really good job. Katerina, she just seemed out of place. I mean, I'm glad that we had a kick-ass woman and things like that, but she just seemed really anachronistic. And we just, again, don't know anything about her. We don't have to know anything about her, but there's just this whole mystery about her, and okay, whatever, she can fight. Okay, whatever. One of the shining scenes, the only shining scene to me in this episode, the first episode of this series finale, though, was Brona's discussion with Victor that got Victor to let her go. And that was Brona/Lily talking about her dead daughter and the whole explanation on how her daughter died. Billie Piper gave an amazing performance. I have not always thought she was the best actress, and it just blew me away, and it was heartbreaking, and it was just amazing, and kudos to Billie Piper. And it got Victor to let her go, and he said, we've been monsters for so long, let's try being human. And he finally did the right thing. Best scene in the episode. Best scene in the episode. Made up for the very, very, very little that we saw of Vanessa. And, again, waste of Vanessa. She's not getting to be the vampire queen that she apparently is supposed to be. Whatever. Give it to Lily. It was the best. Best part of this episode. Again, what Dr. Seward did to Renfield in this episode also is basically what he did to Renfield in the books. That is very reminiscent of what happened in the Dracula books. It's the only thing that harkens back to the books. Ethan fights the vampires as a werewolf. Dracula basically has a showdown with him. It's werewolves versus vampires, whatever. This could have been really exciting and really adventurous, but I feel bad, but I just couldn't get into it. We find out that Kitsune is a werewolf. They have he's helping fight. And then the episode cuts out with, like, Kitsune and Ethan being like, "Rrrr," like, right in each other's face, and then it cuts out. It's really, really abrupt and just stupid. Like, I hate to say it, but so much of this episode felt rushed and off-kilter and not on the same quality that most Penny Dreadful episodes really felt. It felt like Van Helsing. It felt like Buffy, and it's not that Buffy and Van Helsing are, like, bad, but it's something out of the 90s. Like, this didn't feel right. This didn't feel like Penny Dreadful to me. And except for some parts, like the parts with John Clare and the parts with Lily. Like, those parts felt right, but there were other parts that just felt wrong. And including this. Just really disappointing. Basically, we find out that Kitsune turned Ethan. We don't find out really how or what all of that entails. Blah, 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 blah. Dorian and Lily have a discussion, and Lily basically just says, what I did really like that Dorian has left the body for Lily to find, and Lily just seems so heartbroken and says that it's just one more dead child. And Dorian just says, passion undoes the best of us. And what's really sad is that, Dorian did really care for Vanessa, but seemingly he's forgotten about that, apparently. He's either forgotten about it or the writers have forgotten about it. Again, there's a lot of characters in this episode that are just seemingly forgetting things that matter to them in season 1 and season 2 for the sake of the plot. So Dorian has forgotten what he cared about in season 1 and season 2. Whatever. Lily basically says, I don't care about your eternity without passion. I want passion. So she kisses him and then leaves him, and he's left alone in his house. And he says, I'll always be here. Okay, bye. Bye, Dorian. You were useless. Disappointing. Lily leaves, never to be seen again. Lily, you were getting cool, but your entire plot line was useless this season, I guess, too. Disappointing. Though I loved her plot points in the past episodes. I liked what they were doing with Lily, but yeah. Guess Ethan's never going to find out about Lily and Brona. That seems weird, but of course, this apparently was a 3-year plan. Again, don't buy it. Don't buy what Showtime's telling you. Don't buy what John Logan's telling you. It's not true. It's not true at all. But Ethan's never going to see Brona. Lily again. Nope. Lily's disappearing, never to be seen again. Victor and Jeckle have a fight. We find out that Chuckles Dad is dead, so now he's Lord Hyde. Dun 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 dun. That's the big reveal. That's how he's Hyde. What? Yeah, okay. That's the stupidest thing I've heard. Bye. Jeckle. Wasted. The end. Bye. We wasted how many minutes on a character that didn't end up mattering in this season? That was the last season. Bye. So, Dr. Stewart, again, is hypnotizing Renfield to find out where Vanessa and Dr. Sweet, where Dracula is, and figures it out. They end up walking towards the lair. Again, another thing that annoyed me. So, Victor suddenly decides, after all of this time and this entire season, that now he wants to help Vanessa. He suddenly remembers that Vanessa exists. Okay, convenient plot point number, 8 of this episode, of these 2 episodes. Again, whatever. We need all of the characters that need to be in this plot all lined up in a pretty duck row, apparently. They end up fighting. Basically, Dracula says, Vanessa's mine, not yours. She wishes you all to live, so you need to leave. And Dr. Stewart says the best line of the episode and just goes, fuck him. Bless Dr. Stewart. Again, best stuff of the episode. She was so amazing. Bats come, vampires are attacking. Dracula fights all of them, so Ethan can conveniently go find Vanessa. Okay. So Vanessa basically says, no one can save her, and, I can't be saved, and it hurts, everything hurts, and no one can protect her, and it's all her, and she did this, and that Ethan needs to kill her, and I can't see God, and I want to see God, and blah, 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 so Ethan shoots her and dies, blah. And then, and she regrets what she did, so, ooh, boo-hoo, and Ethan kills her, and here's the thing, guys. Vanessa has always been a fighter, and I know she's tired, and I know, whatever, it's all... Vanessa kicked Lucifer's butt last season. She destroyed him. This is the woman who grabbed the face of that doll that had Lucifer's soul in it and goes, know your master, and smashed the crap out of it. This is the woman who owned the ever-loving junk out of it. She is a witch. She had the grimoire. She owned the crap out of Lucifer. Lucifer was no longer a problem. That same woman just gives in like this? No, not at all. That woman does not give in. Period. And yeah, she's been weakened, and she gives in momentarily. That happens. In season 1, she begged Ethan to kill her, and what did he say? He wouldn't kill her. He tried to save her. Ethan, here, doesn't even try to save her. He immediately shoots her. He doesn't even try to save her like he did in season 1. Both of them acted completely out of character, just for the fact that she could die. And the thing that just bothers the crap out of me and that made me so angry and upset is that she died just to perpetuate the man pain of Ethan and Sir Malcolm and John Clare and Victor. She only died so that the men could feel horrible about the fact that they couldn't save her and that she had died. Boo-hoo. So sad. Oh, poor tragic Victorian Vanessa sacrificing herself like Joan of Arc. No, that's bullshit, guys. This Vanessa had conquered Lucifer. She could have taken down Dracula. In 2 episodes ago, Katerina was talking about how she had to be a spy and how she could have gotten close enough to Dracula to take him down. That, yeah, she gave in to him. So, there's so many ways that she could have found out a way to take him down. There was a long game to be played here. This woman, yes, again, gave herself over to Dracula. So, but she could have taken him down. But she just gave up. So, she either gave up and had regrets about it. Which, okay, fine. Boo-hoo. But fight. And then have Ethan, try to save you. Or become the mother of evil. We never even saw her become evil. So she gave in to herself. So if she gave in to herself, become the mother of evil and own it and be badass and be a vampire, which we never saw, or regret it and be boohoo and then try to take down Dracula. Like, we never saw either of those things happen. We saw a meek, sad, pathetic Vanessa, which has never existed before. Like, even when she was, like, living as an agoraphobe in the very beginning of this season at her very lowest, like, she still, like, went out and went to go get help, and she forced herself to go out and get help when Sir Lyle told her to go get help, and she was still smiling and trying to go do things. Like, she didn't give up on herself. She tried to do things. Like, this was so out of character and so disgusting to me because it was all about the men in the end. It wasn't about Vanessa. It was about the men. Because they got their families, and they have their families, and Like, no. It wasn't about Vanessa in the end. Vanessa was in 3 minutes of this episode. The entire episode was about the men. And it's gross. And wrong. And not right. Like, this show and these 2 episodes let Vanessa down when this show has always been about Vanessa. And she was the main character. And in 2 fail strokes, this show let her down. And it's incredibly disappointing. And they let Dracula get away. So, like, they bring out Vanessa's body and Dracula's just like, oh shit! And, like, disappears. Again. So, like I said, he won. So, okay, like, whatever, bye! And they bury her, and boohoo, like, Ethan has his family, and Victor and Ethan hug, so, like, no hard feelings. You still don't know about what I did to Brona, but I murdered your girlfriend and turned her into an immortal who was murdering men, but you don't know that, and you're never gonna know, apparently. Like, I know I sound really upset, guys, and I'm ranting in this video, but it's just really, really difficult for me. This was my favorite show, and this was so bad. And again, your opinion may differ, but I'm really, really upset about it. And this whole season has been disjointed and all over the place, and despite having one of the best episodes of all of Penny Dreadful, which was episode 4, A Blade of Grass, it just was a disappointing season. I'm not going to be buying it on DVD, like I've bought or Blu-ray, like I've bought the other 2 seasons, like, and I'm probably not going to watch it again. Like, I would rather remember Penny Dreadful as it was, which is 1 and 2, and think of, you know, Ethan, if, hey, he can leave and then come to his senses and come back, like, whatever. And here's the thing, I wasn't looking for a happy ending. I didn't necessarily expect a happy ending. I believed that they could have earned a happy ending, and it might have been bittersweet. I didn't expect everybody to live, but this ending felt hollow. I could have even handled Vanessa dying. I wouldn't have minded that, but not in the way that she went out. And here's the thing. Yeah, Ava Green talked about Vanessa being Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc was a martyr. Vanessa didn't go out a martyr. She just didn't. There are ways to be a martyr, and it wasn't that. It just wasn't. And it's just, again, I think it was a result of the show getting canceled and John Logan wanting it to end, you know, having to scramble to write an ending. And this is the result of what we got. I know some people have really enjoyed it, and I'm not trying to knock you guys for enjoying it. But as someone who has truly, truly loved this show, it's really sad to me. And there were some really good plot lines in here that didn't end up going anywhere because they cut everything short. Lily's storyline ended up not really going anywhere because of what happened. Victor's storyline didn't go anywhere. Jeckle's storyline sure as heck didn't go anywhere. Ethan's storyline, like, didn't really go anywhere. Like, okay, like, whatever. Like, John Clare got the most, like, character arc out of everybody. And the rest of them kind of didn't. And that's what we're left with Penny Dreadful, is something that was dreadful. This this series finale was a bit dreadful. And I'm just disappointed. I really want to go back and rewatch seasons 1 and 2 and remember the show for what it was and how good it was, and not for what it has become for me. I was really bitter, and I know I sound bitter, and I'm just upset. I want it to be better. And I know, guys, I'm sorry that I sound so angry. It just upset me. I love this show so much, and this just wasn't what I wanted. I don't think a lot of you wanted this. This show deserved more. It deserved more seasons, certainly, and it deserved a better ending than this. Vanessa deserved better. Most of the characters deserved better. And I don't necessarily mean alive. I just mean better written endings. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Yeah, just let me know. And this is and was Dreadfully Yours with Lindsay from When Nerds Attack. Signing out.